Hello, welcome to another training from Turnleaf Organizing for the Peak Productivity for High Performers community. I hope you are all having a great week. I have been talking about habits for the last couple of weeks, and I'm really excited to share today's content with you. So, the title of today's training is Habits and Your Business, Tapping into the Science of Human Behavior. If you have not yet figured out, I am a little bit of a science geek. Hey, Steve. I love learning about how the brain is functioning and how that is related to our behaviors, our thoughts, our feelings, our actions. It's a topic that you can delve into, and I think learn so much about yourself, about your business, about your team, and about your clients. So today really has a little bit of a marketing spin. So if you are the decision maker in your business, this is going to help you not only figure out behaviors of yourself and your team, your employees, but also the behaviors of your clients, your customers. So I think this is going to be some really juicy content. Would love for feedback, comments, questions while I am training. If you catch the replay, please feel free to drop comments. I keep an eye on these recordings and love to engage post live event. So let's dig in. So if you did not catch last week's training, I would highly recommend that you do, but I'm going to give you a very quick overview of the information because it applies to today's. So last week I talked about the 4 laws of behavior and how they work together in terms of creating new habits. So, the 4 laws of behavior change are cue, craving, response, and reward. And when we make sure that all 4 components of those laws are in place, we're creating a neurological feedback loop in our brain that will lead to the formation of new habits. So, habits are not about willpower, they're not about skill, they're not about, am I strong or am I weak? They're about, am I using my brain the way it is designed to work? So, all of these same laws, they can be used to help you, your team, your employees establish more effective habits, and they can also be used to get better results when it comes to marketing and sales. So, I'm going to show you today how you can apply each of the 4 laws in a business context. All right, so let's start with number 1. Cue. The cue is the very first thing that a human needs to see in order to get this loop going. So the cue is about making things obvious. A cue is anything that gets our attention and then tells us what to do next. So, a notification on your phone, on your computer, those are very prevalent cues that we experience right now. Commercials that you see or hear. When you walk downstairs and you see the dirty laundry sitting next to the door to the basement, it's a cue that reminds you, I need to go take care of this chore. So, a cue is anything that gets our attention and tells us what to do next. We need to make the cue very obvious. So there's a reason that Facebook wants to have a audible notification and wants to pop up the red bubble on your phone because they want you to see, oh, there's something new here. We're notifying you that you should come visit our site right now. You should open the app this very minute and see what you're missing. There's a reason that we sometimes set reminders and notifications on our calendar, right? We don't want to forget that we need to, stop what we're doing and go get in the car to get to that meeting at 1:30. So as a user, the end user of tools, cues can be very helpful. They can also be very annoying. So What you need to remember is that in most cases, you are in charge of those types of cues. And so, from a productivity perspective, you really want to make sure that for yourself and for your team, that you are making the necessary cues obvious and that you're eliminating cues that you do not want to be obvious. So, you may need to tell your team, I would like for you to turn off the notifications for Twitter and Instagram. I need you to turn on the notifications when you get a new calendar invitation. As a company, you want to have some policy around best practices so that your team, including yourself, you are seeing information at the right time and you are avoiding information that could be a distraction or an interruption. Now, from a marketing perspective, as a business, you want to make your product, your service, as obvious as possible to your prospects and to your clients. So the example here is, if you own a brick and mortar, you want to make the most popular or the more expensive products, you want to make them visible when the clients or customers initially walk into your store. You want prominent displays for new products that you might be trying to educate your clients about. For those of us that work more in the service arena, you want to make sure that your web page, the very first thing that individuals see when they come to your web page is, the attention grabbing service that is going to change their life. You want to make sure that in an email that you're putting your offer, your unique proposition above the fold, which means you don't want people to have to scroll to get to the important information, to get to the information that you want to be obvious and to be one of the first things that your clients or prospective clients see. So, another example of making the cue obvious is kind of the design either of your physical space or of the workflow for your team. Again, making sure that you're communicating the most important tasks, the most important deliverables, the most high value product. You want those to be in the most obvious locations, physically, digitally, all of it. So that is how you can tap into that very first law of behavior, which is using that cue and making it very obvious. Number two, the second law of behavior change has to do with creating a craving. So this is where we want to make the offer, make the product very attractive. If you think about our human behavior, every behavior is preceded by a prediction. So if we see a picture of delicious looking ice cream, we're going to assume that it is creamy, that it is cold, that the chocolate is, rich. We're going to predict something before we even experience the item, the food, the service. So every purchase, and we're all in business here, so every purchase that your potential client might make is predicting, is making a prediction, right? Nothing is 100% guaranteed. If a customer does not buy your product, it means that they're predicting the result will not be what they desire. The customer's not really buying your product when they make the initial payment, when they hand you the dollar bill and they get the tchotchke in their hand, they're really buying the prediction that it's going to serve the purpose. Okay. And that's kind of a really, I think, important perspective because I know that I often get really, really stuck on all the nitty gritty details of how I'm going to deliver my service. How many minutes? How many hours? How can you access me? But my clients are not buying that. They're buying the prediction that Elizabeth is going to solve my problem. And I don't necessarily know exactly how, but I trust she's going to do it. That has to do with tapping into that craving, making things attractive. Now, of course, we're being honest and very transparent. We are not offering things that we can't deliver on. We are not over promising, but we're focusing on what is most attractive about our service, about our product that's solving that one big problem the client has. So let's take an example. Okay, client needs a new website. They're going to choose the website designer, perhaps based on reviews, because they're predicting, well, if John did a good job for these three companies that are similar to mine, then I can assume that he will also do a good job for me. They might look at some of the work that you've done and say, oh, I love the design and the colors they used for this company. I'm going to assume, I can predict they will also listen to me and get my colors and my design right. So when it comes to products and services in a way, making it attractive, it really comes down to like explaining the benefits in a very clear and compelling way. Now, we can shift this into your team, at your business, the individuals who work for you. You also need to think about, how am I making the work attractive to my team? So it's, you're, as the business owner and leader, you're selling to your clients and prospects, but you're also selling to your team. And this is where, the whole concept of culture comes into play, and making sure that your team is as vested, almost as vested as you are, but you're still selling them every day why they should walk through that door or log on to the team portal and do the work for you and your business, right? So, are you using attractive language about a new project that's going to get your team excited and motivated? Are you, creating kind of a great visual of the end result so that your team knows exactly the direction they're going in and can taste and feel and see the excitement that your client is going to experience when the team produces what is promised? So choosing the correct words makes the message attractive, right? And makes the end result beautiful in the customer's mind, in your team's mind, in everyone's perspective. So remember that we're really selling that prediction. Another important element here that I want to touch on is personalization. So any of you who use a tool like MailChimp or ConvertKit, when you're sending out group messages, you really want to try to figure out, how can I personalize this message? So there are features like inserting first name. This is also where, if you're speaking to a specific type of client, you want to make sure that you're speaking their language, you're speaking directly to them. So instead of, the subject line being how to make six figures, you would want to make the subject line, how freelance writers can make six figures, right? All of a sudden, that's speaking to that very specific clients that you're wanting to attract, which is the freelance writers who are on a mission to increase their income. So personalization in any form is always going to make the offer more attractive. If you think about some companies that do a really good job of this, Amazon comes to mind. So I'm sure that all of you, to some degree, are Amazon shoppers. And think about how well they personalize. When you go in there and you're searching for products, they are paying attention to what you're searching for today, to what some of the filters are, right, that you're setting, but they're also paying attention to previous buying behavior, previous searches. There's at the bottom, but it's above the fold, there's always a line of suggested items. Others, like you, also bought, right? They are personalizing your experience every time you go on their website or open their app. They are trying to help you feel like Amazon knows you as a person, as a buyer, as a consumer. You're not just number 1 billion who clicked on the link today. So, personalization with your clients, with your prospects, and with your team, right? If you're introducing a new tool to the team, how are you selling it to them? How are you demonstrating how it's going to make their job and their life easier, not just it's going to make our business more productive and profitable? All right, so that's behavior law number 2. Law number 3 is response, which is making it easy. You want it to be so easy for your consumer to push the button that says buy now, to sign on the line and say, yes, I want to work with you, to sign up for your class and say, why wouldn't I? So making it easy. So step 3, the response is like the actual behavior that you're wanting yourself or others to take, the action you want to see. The most effective way to really employ this third law is to map out the chain of behaviors that, let's take a customer, for example, the chain of behaviors that your customer has to perform to get from I'm interested to I'm now a paying client or I bought your product. And you want to really, this is where you want to get really, really detailed. I remember as a teacher, when I was helping kids understand uh, taking steps in the right order. And I would always say, explain to me how you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And most kids would say, well, you put peanut butter and jelly on bread and then you eat it. Well, there are a lot of steps before I can put peanut butter and jelly on bread and eat it, right? I have to go to the cabinet and find the bread. I have to know how to untwist the twist tie. I need to know to get out 2 slices of bread, not 1 or not 3. I need to open the refrigerator and know what shelf the peanut butter is located on and what shelf the jelly is located on. I need to know which drawer the knife is in. I need to then decide, am I putting peanut butter on one slice and jelly on another slice? Am I putting them on both slices, right? All the steps. And I used to get really, really nitty gritty with them to say, you have to pay attention to every single detail. So it's the same here with the customer process. It's not just, oh, they go to my website and they click the button and they buy something. There are lots of other steps that the consumer may have to take to get to the buy now button, right? So you want to really break it down, map it out, and then figure out, are there any steps here that I could minimize, that I could eliminate, right? Can I store their credit card information so they don't have to go get their wallet every time they want to buy? Can I make it a faster, connection that they can pay by PayPal instead of having to pay with a, automatic bank withdrawal? Do they have to click 3 times into your website to get to the cart, or is there one click button from the homepage that takes them straight there? So make it easy for your consumer. Let's take an example. Again, I think Amazon is just such a great model of this. If you think about how Amazon has evolved, so the beauty of Amazon when they first came out was, oh, I don't have to go to the store. I can get the item shipped to my house. Fantastic. Well, now that, next step they took was I can get it shipped for free if I spend a certain number of dollars. Let me do that. They get me with that every single time. I always end up buying one more thing so that I don't have to pay the shipping, right? I'd rather get another item and not pay shipping than pay $6 for the fact that it, came in a truck. So then they went from, okay, now we're shipping free. Well, how about if we ship it and you get it in 2 days or less? So instant reward, which is actually tapping into the 4th behavior law, which is the reward. How about you can get it in 2 hours or less if it's a local item that I can get to you? I mean, talk about instant gratification. How about when you buy a book? The book is on its way, but here's access to the digital copy so you can start reading this very minute. Amazon has mastered this in terms of making it so easy. There are so few obstacles in the way when you see something on Amazon and you want it. They have absolutely mastered this. So take some lessons from Amazon. How can you do the same thing with your product or service, right? With your team, how do you make it as easy as possible for them to start using a new process or using a new tool? Are you giving them a checklist that helps them so that there's no frustration of what do I do next? Are you pre-populating the list of prospects that they need to follow up with so they don't have to go into the database and do all the searching and, populating? How are you making it easy for your team to fall into line? This is so important in what the work that I do with developing systems, right? Team members will get very easily frustrated if they feel like they've been given a task and they haven't been given the right direction on how to complete it. They get frustrated, they get scared because they're worried if I don't know how to do it, I have to go figure that out. It's going to take me longer. My boss might think I'm not smart enough, I'm not fast enough, I'm not productive enough. So, how are you making it as easy as possible for your team to complete the task, work with the client, do the things, do all the things, right? Make it easy, eliminate friction wherever you possibly can. And I'm focusing so much right now on how we're interacting with the client and with the team, but this all applies to us as well, right? Any new habit that you're wanting to develop for the work in your business, are you eliminating friction? Are you making sure that the obstacles are not going to get in your way? You want to make sure you've gotten rid of them before you press go, before you start on your journey of developing the new habits. But systems are such a key part of this because if you just try to I'm just going to try it and you don't think about it and plan it and analyze it from the get-go, you're going to hit a lot of walls. So many of those walls can be eliminated. Maybe not all of them, but so many of them can be eliminated when you plan ahead, when you map out the course, and then you figure out how do we make it easier? How do we make it more attractive? How do we get started more quickly? How do we make it obvious so I'm not going to forget? Okay, we're at law number 4, which is reward. Make it satisfying. I just talked to a good friend of mine yesterday. We were talking about a new habit. She's trying to be more consistent with her social media posts. And I said, what are you doing to reward yourself when you do stick to the plan, when you do get the post up on the day you wanted, at the time you wanted? And she kind of said, I don't know. I'm supposed to do it. So I just feel somewhat happy that I did it. I reminded her that you can be a 3-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 30-year-old, or a 90-year-old. You need rewards for when you complete the task you are expecting yourself or that someone else expects you to do. We all need rewards. There's nothing wrong with being an adult who needs some rewards. Now, we want some intrinsic, but external rewards are okay. In fact, they are part of this feedback loop. And if you skip this step, you are going to be less inclined to come back and do it again. And that is the whole purpose of habit formation. We need to have a craving to come back and do it again and again and again. So, how are you creating some rewards? How are you making it satisfying for yourself, for your team, for your customers? It's the final stage of the loop, and it's so critical. We want our people to feel good at the end of the day, at the end of the purchase, at the end of the week, and have a reason to repeat the same process again in the future. So, how are you encouraging your customers to use your product habitually? How are you making sure they see your appreciation for them buying your service, buying your product, and encouraging them to come back and do it again? This is why you have all the shopper clubs or like the reward cards, right? Buy 10 coffees, get your 10th one free. Come to the nail salon 8 times and you get $5 off your 9th time. Okay, that is all about the reward. Now, those rewards are awfully far away. And so, one of the rules here within the rule is you want to try to make the reward as immediate as possible. So you want to try to create some level of satisfaction immediately after the purchase, immediately after completing the task. When it becomes, days or weeks away, then it's a little less motivating, especially early on in the relationship, early on in the client customer relationship or boss employee relationship. So this is where, just trying to offer, again, even if it is just verbal thank yous, it might be highlighting somebody on your social feed saying, welcome to, my program, sending a thank you note, having in the box when you ship a product, having a little note that says, we appreciate you as a client, 10% off your next purchase, use this code. So in a workspace, this is where having like a gratitude wall, where if you are grateful for something a team member did, you put it up on the wall so that everybody sees it. If you're working remotely now, once a week when you're having a team huddle, you go around the circle and you point out something that each team member did well this week. We want to make sure that we are creating this feel good atmosphere with our team, with our clients, with ourselves. All right. So, we want to celebrate big wins, but we really want to celebrate the little wins as well. It's so easy to overlook them and so easy to stay focused on the big end result. But to make this feedback loop work, we want to have that reward happening as frequently and as often as possible. Okay, so those are some ways to apply these laws of behavior and behavior change to the inner workings of your business. So we're all humans. As the business leader, I need to think about my cue, my craving, my response, my reward. As the service provider, I need to think about the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward for my prospects and for my clients. As the leader of a team, I need to think about how am I making their work tasks obvious? How am I eliciting, a craving to do the work? How am I making sure that they're taking the right action, that it's easy, and then how am I rewarding them? I think this can be a game changer. Once you understand people's behaviors, it's like you have this brand new insight and perspective into their brain, their inner workings, their thoughts. So I hope that this was helpful information. As I mentioned last week, I am working on a kind of low price program where on a monthly basis, you kind of join in as a habit renegade, habit hackers. Those are the two names that have been suggested to me. And we have a little group, a club for developing new habits. And again, it could start with personal, or it could be something that you and somebody on your team are trying to develop a new process or a new habit for your business. So give me a shout out, send me a direct message. I'm interested. I'm thinking it will probably begin in June, and it'll really be giving you the structure and the accountability to use these 4 rules, to use the power of group and community to commit to a new habit or behavior, to implement with consistency, and to make sure that you're not forgetting any of the 4 steps, so that you are using science to your advantage to imprint the habit more quickly. All right, everybody. I hope that you have a fabulous rest of your day, rest of your week. Send any topic suggestions that you are interested in for these Thursday trainings. And I look forward to seeing you all back here next week. Enjoy the long holiday weekend. Talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.